I am the creator and host of a podcast, a literary interview podcast called Burned by Books. And it started very much with a say yes moment in not the middle, in the scary, scary beginning of COVID. And it happened maybe 2 months into the full lockdown of the country and the world and all of our schools and colleges. And I had been sitting at home while my wife, who's a doctor, was treating COVID patients all the time. And her life and therefore our family's life was very, very difficult and scary, and constantly wondering if she was going to be struck ill with COVID and would our kids get COVID. And so everything was about no. It was about don't see other people and don't have contact with mom when she gets back from the office or the hospital, and don't see your friends, only see them on Zoom. And so when I was probably at the deepest level of my sadness about all of this, books were an incredible company for me. They always have been my whole life. And so the idea that I could take comfort in reading a book became more and more important, and being able to fling myself into another world. But at a certain point, you're desperate for human connection. You're desperate for a sense that there's someone else besides you and a book. And obviously, my family was around me a lot, but I needed something more. And the idea came to me that a podcast where I talk to authors about their books would be this wonderful add-on to reading. It would make reading grow. And then I could see how the authors had been inspired, what their works meant to them when they were writing them, and then now see how they were dealing with COVID, especially at the beginning. The people I were talking to were also inside, and they were often very sad. And so that kind of became the genesis of what the podcast would be. And when I found out that it's actually quite cheap to be able to run a podcast and doesn't take a lot of money to have a microphone and get some free recording software, then it was easier to say yes, to be able to convince myself that I could do it.